Have you ever, maybe with the best intentions, found yourself making your boss feel, I don't know, uncomfortable,
Yeah.
or someone else in charge? Maybe you did a great job on something, a presentation or an idea, and instead of getting praised, you just felt this kind of chill,
Mhm.
that awkwardness. Yeah, it's a weird feeling, and I think a lot of us have been there. It really gets to something deep about power dynamics. So today we're doing a deep dive into one of the most, well, let's say, enduring and maybe uncomfortable ideas about power. It's Law 1 from the 48 Laws of Power: never outshine the master.
Mm.
Our goal here for you is to look at the history, the psychology behind this, and figure out some real ways to handle situations where maybe your own talent could accidentally make someone feel threatened. It's not about hiding your light exactly, but maybe aiming it strategically. So the basic idea of this law, Law 1, is pretty blunt, isn't it? Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. It's not just about, like, not showing off. It goes deeper. It's about how your own abilities might stir up fear, insecurity, even if you didn't mean to at all.
Exactly. And what's really key here is how it taps into this fundamental human thing. People in power, they need to feel secure. It's primal almost. This law really highlights how often the reactions to feeling threatened are, well, frankly, irrational. Your intentions might be totally pure, but that doesn't always matter. A master, they're often focused on their own status, their own glory. It's not always about the truth or even your loyalty. They just need to appear the most brilliant.
Yeah, and history is full of examples, right? The story of Nicolas Fouquet is just, wow. He was Louis XIV's finance minister, super brilliant, apparently indispensable. He really thought he was on track to become prime minister.
And why wouldn't he? He'd done amazing work, but then Louis XIV decided, nah, no prime minister. Fouquet felt like he was maybe losing favor, so he did what courtiers do. He decided to throw a party to get back in the king's good graces.
Right, and not just any party. We're talking maybe the party of the century. Officially, it was to celebrate finishing his amazing chateau, Vaux-le-Vicomte. But really, it was all about honoring King Louis, the guest of honor. The sheer luxury. Can you picture it?
Oh, it was completely over the top. The highest nobility in Europe were there. Thinkers like La Fontaine, Molière. Molière actually performed a play written just for that night. There was this incredible 7-course dinner, foods France had never seen before, special music composed for the king.
And then the gardens, these amazing gardens and fountains. Apparently, they were the inspiration for Versailles later on. Fouquet himself gives the young king a personal tour. Everyone's saying it's the best party they've ever been to.
Yeah.
So Fouquet's thinking, I'm showing loyalty, I've got taste, connections, I'm essential. This has to work. This proves I'm the guy.
Uh-huh. That was his calculation. But he totally misread the Sun King. Louis XIV, incredibly proud, maybe arrogant. He needed to be the absolute star, always. He couldn't stand being outshone, especially not by his finance minister, using what Louis probably saw as his money. Every compliment Fouquet got, every amazed look from a guest. Louis felt like his people were more impressed by Fouquet than by him. He saw it as Fouquet basically bragging about his own wealth and power. It hit Louis right in the vanity.
And he wouldn't just say that, would he? Hey, your party made me feel insecure.
Oh, never. No way. It was a deep, hidden offense. And the fallout was incredibly fast, like chillingly fast. The very next day after the party, Fouquet gets arrested by D'Artagnan.
Wait, the actual D'Artagnan from the stories?
The very one, head of the king's musketeers.
Yeah.
3 months later, Fouquet's on trial. The charges, stealing from the treasury. Which is deeply ironic because a lot of what he supposedly stole he'd actually spent for the king, often with permission. But he was found guilty, sentenced to 20 years, solitary confinement, in this super remote prison way up in the Pyrenees.
Wow, just gone. So who did Louis replace him with? Someone less shiny?
Exactly. He picked Jean-Baptiste Colbert. Colbert was known for being, well, careful with money, thrifty, and apparently he threw the most boring parties in Paris. Colbert made sure every cent went straight to Louis. And the final twist, Louis then hires Fouquet's own architects, his designers, his garden guys, to build Versailles, even grander palace. And eventually Louis threw parties at Versailles that were even more extravagant than Fouquet's fatal one.
Okay, that is a brutal lesson.
Yeah.
The master's ego, their insecurity, it trumps everything. Logic, loyalty, even being good at your job, it just doesn't matter if they feel outshone. So if that's the risk, how do you do it right? How do you observe this law, like strategically? Is there a good example of someone who nailed it?
Absolutely. For a masterclass in this, you really have to look at Galilei. early 1600s astronomer, mathematician. His work completely depended on patrons, dukes, princes, kings. His entire life was basically a constant search for funding for security until he made a specific, very important discovery.
That would be Jupiter's moons, right?
Yeah.
In 1610. Huge for science.
Massive, yeah. Now, before this, Galileo kind of spread his discoveries around, dedicate a telescope to one patron, a book to another. But with the moons of Jupiter, he changed tactics completely. He decided, okay, this one goes all in on the Medici.
The Medicis of Florence.
Yeah.
Why them specifically? What made them the right choice?
It was symbolic, very clever. See, the ruling god, Jupiter, was a Medici family symbol. It connected them to this ancient Roman power, something beyond just banking or politics. So Galileo didn't just dedicate the discovery. He framed it as this, cosmic event, specifically honoring the Medicis. He claimed the moons appeared right when Cosimo II, the current Medici ruler, took the throne. He pointed out there were 4 moons, just like Cosimo and his 3 brothers. See the harmony. He even said the moons orbited Jupiter just like the 4 suns revolved around Cosimo, the father of the dynasty. He called them the Medicean stars. He literally put their name in the heavens.
Wow. Okay, so that's way beyond just a simple dedication. He's weaving their family into the fabric of the universe. What happened for Galileo?
It worked like a charm. Instantly. He got more from that single move than years of just asking for money. Cosimo II appointed him official court philosopher and mathematician, with a full salary. That was like hitting the jackpot for a scientist back then. His money worries were basically over. And notice how he did it. He didn't make the Medicis feel dumb or challenge their intellect. He made them look brilliant. He used his discovery to make them shine brighter than any other court in Italy. He didn't outshine the master. He made the master outshine everyone else.
It's striking, isn't it, looking at Fouquet and Galileo side by side? It really feels like, yeah, maybe life hasn't changed that much. People in high positions today, they still want that security, that feeling of being preeminent. It sounds kind of cynical, though, doesn't it? Like talent itself could be dangerous.
I wouldn't call it cynical, maybe more realistic about power. It's a dynamic that plays out. Think about it. The master might seem appreciative at first, right? But if they start feeling threatened, even slightly, they'll often look for a chance to replace you. And usually with someone less brilliant, less charismatic, less threatening, just like Louis swapped Fouquet for the dull Colbert. And they probably won't admit the real reason. They'll find some other excuse, some justification to get rid of you. This law points to, 2 key rules about this insecurity you need to grasp.
Okay, 2 critical rules. What are they?
Rule 1. You can accidentally outshine just by being you. You don't even have to try. Some masters are just incredibly insecure. Your natural charm, your grace, your intelligence, it can be enough. Think about Astore Manfredi, Prince of Faenza, around 1500. Supposedly the most handsome, charming young prince in Italy, beloved by his people. Then Cesare Borgia besieges his city. Borgia actually spares the town initially, lets Manfredi, who's only 18, stay free.
Sounds okay so far. But knowing Borgia...
Yeah, exactly. A few weeks later, Manfredi's dragged off to prison in Rome. A year later, his body's pulled from the Tiber River, stone tied around his neck. Borgia cooked up some treason charges, of course. But the real reason, Borgia was notoriously vain, deeply insecure. Manfredi simply existing, being so naturally charismatic, made Borgia feel less attractive, less compelling.
So it wasn't even something Manfredi did, it was just who he was. The takeaway there is, if you naturally shine bright, maybe avoid those monsters of vanity, or at least learn to dim your lights around them.
Pretty much. You either avoid them or you learn to consciously tone down your own qualities when you're in their presence. Okay, the second critical rule. Never assume that just because the master likes you, you have a free pass. Never take their favor for granted. You could fill books with stories of favorites who got too comfortable, presumed too much, and then dared to outshine. Take Sen no Rikyu, late 16th century Japan. He was Emperor Hideyoshi's absolute favorite, the top master of the tea ceremony, which was a huge deal back then. Rikyu was famous, respected.
So, top of his game, clearly loved by the emperor. How does someone like that fall?
Swiftly and fatally. He was ordered to commit suicide.
Whoa! Why? What did he do?
It came out that Rikyu, who started as a peasant, remember, had commissioned a wooden statue of himself. Okay, fine.
Okay.
But the statue showed him wearing sandals, which was a sign of nobility, and posing kind of loftily. And he had it placed inside the palace grounds in a major temple where royalty would definitely see it. Hideyoshi saw this as Rikyu completely losing perspective, forgetting his place, thinking he had the same rights as the nobility, acting like his fame was all his own doing, not dependent on the emperor's favor. It was a massive miscalculation of his own importance, born from feeling too secure in his position, and it cost him his life.
So the lesson isn't just don't show off your talents. It's also know your place, understand the limits, and never ever let the master's favor make you forget who's ultimately in charge. Don't let go to your head.
Okay, so we've seen the dangers. Fouquet, Manfredi, Riccio. It's pretty clear what not to do. But how do you actually flip this? How do you use this law to your advantage? It's got to be more than just damage control, right? There's strategic subtlety here.
Absolutely. It's not just about avoiding disaster. It's about actively managing perceptions. And probably the most powerful tool is discreet flattery. Just, laying it on thick. That has limits. It's obvious. People see through it. Other people might resent it. But subtle, discreet flattery that's much more effective.
Okay, like how? Give us some specifics. What can you actually do? Well, say you're genuinely smarter than your boss. The advice is act like you're not. Play a bit naive. Make them seem smarter. Ask for their advice, their expertise. Even maybe make a small, harmless mistake now and then, something that doesn't really hurt anything, but gives you an excuse to ask for their help. Masters love being asked for help. It reinforces their sense of superiority and wisdom. If a master feels they can't offer you guidance, can't bestow their wisdom, they might actually start to resent you instead.
Ah, okay. So you're letting them feel like the mentor, the wise one. What if your ideas are just better, more creative?
Then you attribute your ideas to them, especially in public. Frame your brilliant suggestion as, just building on what you said earlier, or merely an echo of your own insights. Give them the credit.
Sneaky. All right, what if you're naturally funnier, wittier?
It's okay to be the court jester, the funny one, but you have to be careful not to make the master look dull or humorless by comparison. Maybe tone down your own wit sometimes. Find ways to make them seem like the source of the good mood, the one dispensing the cheer.
And if you're just, more outgoing, more generous?
You have to be careful you're not soaking up all the attention. Don't be the cloud that blocks their sunshine, so to speak. The master needs to feel like the sun, the center of everything, with everyone revolving around them. Let them radiate the power and brilliance. Even something simple, like if you have to entertain them, maybe don't show off your wealth. A display of, let's say, more limited means can actually be reassuring.
Okay, so putting it all together, it sounds like masking your strengths isn't necessarily weakness if it's a strategic move towards power later on. By letting others take the spotlight sometime, you actually stay in control rather than becoming a target for their insecurity.
Exactly. And think about the long game. If you can consistently make your master look good, make them shine brighter in front of others, like Galileo did you become invaluable. A godsend. That's how you get promoted. Remember that image from the source material? The stars in the sky. There's only one sun. Don't block the sunlight. Don't try to compete with its brilliance. Instead, you sort of fade into the background a bit and find ways to make the master star seem even brighter. Balthazar Gracian, the philosopher, put it really bluntly. All superiority is odious, but the superiority of a subject over his prince is not only stupid, it is fatal.
That's quite a quote. Okay, it makes a lot of sense. But is this rule absolute? Are there ever times when you should actually break it? Because this is where it gets really interesting, right? The reversal. The idea of being selectively cruel.
Well, the source does address this. It suggests that you don't have to worry about upsetting everybody, but you need to be strategic. The main exception is if your superior is clearly losing power, a falling star, as the book puts it. If their influence is obviously waning, then the risk of outshining them basically disappears. In that situation, the advice is actually, don't be too merciful. Your master probably wasn't when they were climbing the ladder. You need to assess their strength carefully. If they're weak, you can subtly help things along. Outperform them, be more charming, make smarter moves at crucial moments.
So you're not necessarily pushing them off the cliff, but maybe giving a little nudge. Or just making sure you look better as they stumble.
Something like that. If they're really weak, almost done for, you might just let things happen naturally. Let them fall without you looking actively cruel or like you're kicking them when they're down. Yeah. But, and this is important, if the master is still strong, still firmly in place, even if you know you're more capable, then you wait, be patient. Power naturally shifts. It fades. Your master will eventually weaken or fall. If you play your cards right, stay patient, you'll outlast them. And then, someday, it'll be your turn to shine.
So this whole deep dive into Law 1, never outshine the master. We've seen the clear dangers, right? Fouquet's story is a stark warning about accidentally making superiors feel insecure. But then we saw the flip side with Galileo. The real wisdom and strategic subtlety, making your patrons shine instead of competing with them. And we dug into the psychology, that deep-seated need for security and status, how even things like natural charm, like with Manfredi, or feeling too secure, like Riccio, can backfire spectacularly. And finally, those rare moments where maybe, just maybe, you can break the rule. And really, this isn't just about kings and courtiers hundreds of years ago. You can see these dynamics playing out all the time, can't you? In the office, in social groups, maybe even families sometimes. These subtle power plays are everywhere. So here's something to think about. Can you recall a time in your own life where you might have even accidentally outshone a master? Or maybe think about the opposite. Was there a time you could have helped someone else shine and maybe benefited yourself in the long run? What's just one small, subtle thing you could do, starting today, to apply this understanding of making others feel comfortably superior, strategically, of course,